Mister, can I have a question, please?
Yes, Mary. Yes.
Mister, as you know, you said for us that tomorrow we'll have speaking topics,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Tomorrow, Mister, if you want to share something on the board or like this, can we?
Yes, you can use a flash memory like what I
Yes,
used on the board.
and give it to you. Okay. But
Yes.
the other question, Mister, as you know, there is Omar Ahmed, Yusuf, Walid, Ibrahim Walid,
Yes.
Yusuf, Tamer, they are online.
Yes.
Can some one of them contribute, يعني be with us in a group?
It can be, yes, but he must have the same copy of your topic, okay? To be able to
Yes,
share.
yes, I know.
Or you can share for them from school, okay?
Yes, we will talk from, يعني, Mr. We will make share screen from the board and we can talk together from the mics and like this.
Yes, there is no problem. Yes, okay.
Okay, Mr. Thank you.
You are welcome. But please, no one attend without preparing his topic. You must have the topic that you are going to talk about. Okay, grade 8, all of you.
Yeah,
Don't
Mr.
forget this
Everyone
Yes,
point.
sir.
with himself or with a group?
What?
Everyone with himself or with a group?
In a group, please. I prefer to be in a group.
Mister, I have a question. Like, what should we talk about?
Any topic,
Open topic.
any
Can we
topic
make
that you
ourselves
prefer.
Anything about like environment and stuff.
About
Anything you
technology, sports, social media, okay? Famous people, as you like, okay?
Okay.
But please, for the groups, you have about 30 minutes. So at least I need 6 groups. Each group have 5 minutes to finish their topic. Okay?
Yes,
You agree
sir.
with me? Okay. Today, inshallah, we are going to explain what is the difference between formal writing and informal writing, and how can we deal with the formal writing. We have some basic tools. Muhammad Islam, start this part, please.
Okay, Mr. Apart from friendly letters and certain cases and in school magazine articles, everything you write in the exam, including compositions, summaries, and the answers to the reading comprehensions require formal register. Formal register is among
formal register.
Yes.
The style must be written in a formal way. Okay. Yes. Yes, Muhammad.
formal register is among other things
Is
the
among
lang-
other things
the language of textbooks, and for this reason, it is usually less of a challenge for students. A challenge for students. Some general rules apply to formal writing.
Yes, let's learn together. What is the first rule when we write a formal writing? Yes,
One, when writing formally, it is not appropriate to include the following contracted or short forms.
Yes, take care
It
of this
must be
point.
written as it
Yes,
is.
Muhammad, listen to me. Take care of this point. As we write before the friendly letter, we can write I am, I apostrophe M, yes? Well,
Yes.
one, no problem. But in the formal writing, it's not acceptable to use the contraction. I mean here, the contraction form, the short form of the verb, for example, apostrophe S for is or has, apostrophe RE for are or where, okay? It's not allowed in the formal writing. Put this point in your mind, okay? Yes, Muhammad, read the example.
It does. I'm. It must be written as I am.
Yes.
Won't. Will not. Hasn't. Has not.
Yes.
Words to phrases.
Again, must assure for this point. You mustn't use contraction form in the formal writing, but when we can use them in the informal. I mean, in friendly letters, there is no problem if you use the first form of it's in this way. There's no problem in the informal writing, like the friendly letters. But in the formal writing, it's not allowed. So you can write it is. Okay, I am, I, then the word am. Want, we can write well, then the word not. Hasn't, you write has, then the word not. This in the formal writing. Yes, complete. Ahmed?
Words or phrases that belong to the friendly register.
The second point, yes, Muhammad. Words or phrases that belong to the friendly register. It means here the informal writing. It's not allowed to use
Writing.
them. For example,
Yes. Like it will do you good. You have to write it will benefit you.
yes. Then the third point, avoid slang words. What I mean by slang words, the words that we can use together in a daily life. For example, guy,
Guy,
what,
black, dude.
okay? This,
You have to write man.
yes, these words are informal. You can use them with your friend. But if you write for someone formally, you can use the word man instead of guy, look, dude, okay? Yes, Muhammad, what else?
Okay, Mister. And then, what slang? You need to chill out. You should relax.
This is the meaning
He is,
in the formal writing. Yes, huh?
he is well safe. He is very good person.
Yes, I think that we have here a mistake. It must be written, he is a very good person. Yes,
Yes.
am I right? Yeah, because it must be
Yes,
in
sir.
a formal way. Yes, what else? Humor.
Remember, most of the topics are of serious nature or factual.
Yes.
Exclamation marks, personal style.
So
When
avoid the humor way in your writing because you are writing, for example, you if you imagine that you are writing an application letter. So the application letter you can write for your manager or for your the administrator, as you know. So it's not allowed to use the humor way in your writing. So your topic must be what? Must be serious, has a serious nature or factual. Okay. And
yes,
for exclamation mark, no need to use them in no need to use exclamation marks in the formal writing. Also for personal style. Yes, Muhammad.
okay, Mister. Number two, when giving your opinion or point of view, details about how the situation affects you personally are not appropriate. When giving your opinion about the provision of cycling lanes, for example, it would not be appropriate.
Provision means saving things on yes. About the provision of cycling lanes. Yes.
For example, it would not be appropriate to explain your reasons with references to your own situation by mentioning that you have a bike, or to include information about what time of day you ride it, or for what reason. In other words, the style should be impersonal, yani not talking about
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, that's what we mean here in this part. Your style should be what? Impersonal. As you said, avoid what here? Personal style. Yes. Is it clear, my dear? Grade 8.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Muhammad Islam. Omar
طب
Ahmed.
Mr. Just last question, but not detailed to the writing.
Yes.
Mr. Can we talk more about World War II?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to drink water, okay?
Okay. Omar Ahmed. Huh?
Yes, Mr. The tool is for formal writing. Before considering a different type of composition, you may be asked to write using formal writing and the different writing techniques involved. We must first examine the tools needed to produce formal writing. These include
What at first? Huh?
time fixer phrases,
Yes.
phrases for introducing points, phrases for joining points, phrases for adding support, phrases for making generalizations, formal language structures, suggestions, opinion, view, and arguments.
Views and arguments. Okay. Let's explain the first point. Time fixer
Timer
phrase.
fixer phrases. When writing informally, it is often good
Take
style.
care. When you're writing formally, take care. Formally. Huh?
When you're writing formally,
Yes.
it is often good style to begin the introduction with a time fixer, such as one from the selection below. Nowadays, these days, until now, every day, week, year, recently, for many years in the past.
Listen
Yes.
to me. When you start your formal writing, grade 8, at the first word that you are required to write is the time fixer. What I mean by time fixer, you can use this word, for example, 10 minutes. 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 Nowadays, these days, until now, every day or every week or every year, recently, for many years, in the past, 10 years ago, in the last few, or in the last few years, in the last few, for example, months or 5 days, you can use the word since, then you can use a specific time, for example, since 2010, or since, and it said anything after the word since, must be a time also. For example, yes, Omar.
So, for example, 30 years ago, nearly all the children went to single-sex schools.
Listen to me. Start by saying what here? 30 years ago.
30
This is
years
called
ago.
time fixing. But this second part that he used nearly all children. This is called generalization. Generalization. It means that you select a part of a group. You can say nearly, almost, or you can say all or most of the people, the majority of people. Okay. Yes, Omar. Yeah, second
For many
example.
years, environments have been warning about the effects of global warming.
Yes. Nowadays.
Nowadays, most teenagers own a mobile phone.
Yes. So this part is related to what? Time fixer. Complete, Omar? Huh?
If there has been a change in the situation you are waiting about, two time fixers can be used to contrast and create interest. 30 years ago, nearly all children went to schools. These days, most schools in this country are mixed.
Yes, he's here contrast to create interest. At first, he start by the past time by saying 30 years ago. Yes. Then he start the second part by saying these days. So he use past and
Two
present
different
time.
generations of them.
Yes, past and present time. Yes.
Yes.
So to make what here? To create interest.
Interest.
To show what? To show contrast.
Interest.
Yes, okay. Between the
Yes.
past and the present. Yes. What else after time fixer, including points? Yes.
Introducing points. As discussed in
Introducing
the units on friendly letters, listing is considered to be poor style.
As we said
Informal
before, avoid listing. Yes.
Yes, right.
Yes. Informal writing. Also, you should
Informal
what?
writing. Also, you should remember to limit the ideas, opinions, or suggestions to mix of three.
Yes, he asked
To a
from
maximum
you
of
to,
three.
yes, he asked from you to give him a maximum of 3 ideas, not
points.
more. Don't list, okay? Yes.
Look at the following examples shown to introduce points chronologically using the language of
Chronologically, it means in order, in sequence. Yes, okay.
Yes. Using the language of formal register. In the first place, firstly, the most important, the first point or reason. Secondly, another point, another reason. Thirdly, in addition. Finally, or lastly, the last point, the final reason. To sum up in conclusion.
In conclusion, yes. Join points, informal
Join,
writing.
joining points in informal writing, there are certain ways to join points together or add more points of the same kind. When joining similar points, use the following addition words.
Similar
Furthermore,
points, it means that you add other points on the same point. You can say the word, or is the word.
Furthermore,
moreover, besides. This means in addition to. Okay, this is the meaning of furthermore and moreover or besides. If you are talking about the same point, okay, for example,
regular exercise is beneficial for the health. For the health. Moreover, for health. Moreover, it may result in weight reduction.
Yes. So we are talking about the same topic, regular exercise.
Both sentences are positive. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Smoking,
Smoking can seriously damage health. Furthermore, it is an antisocial habit.
So again, if we use the word furthermore, moreover, besides, we use them for adding information for the same point, as we said for this example, the last one. Smoking can seriously damage health. Furthermore, it is antisocial habit. Yes? You agree with this point? Grade 8, you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Please turn on your cam, please. Complete this part, the last part for you, Omar. When joining
Yes.
contrasting
When
points.
joining contrasting points or beginning a new paragraph that introduces an opposite opinion, use the following concession words. Concession words. However, nevertheless, on the other hand, although.
As we said,
Each.
for these words, we use them for what? For comparing
Joining.
or for contrast?
It's for
What?
joining interest. It's
I
for
know,
joining
I
interest.
know. So this for contrast. Yes.
Yes.
So as we remember before, when we study comparing and contrast, we said comparing to state the similarity. Yes. And for contrast, state what? The difference. Yes. The word that indicates for contrast, like what? However, nevertheless, on the other hand, and although,
Although.
even though, the word but. Okay. Yes. Complete, Omar.
Each of the above phrases begins a sentence.
For example,
Tourism represents a significant contribution, a significant contribution to the national economy. However, it is argued that a large numbers of tourists can damage the environment.
Thanks so much, Omar. How can we add our support if we state any idea or any opinion? Yes, Abbas, completely. Thanks so much, Omar. Abbas, can you read?
Adding support.
Yes.
Informal writing, as mentioned above,
As
not
mentioned
appropriate to
above,
personalize because you are not writing for a reader.
Yes, I'm going.
The style is
Impersonal.
Can you hear me?
No, your sound is lagging, Abbas. Your voice is lagging, sorry. Your voice is lagging. So we can ask another
Can
one.
I read?
Muhammad Mustafa.
Can I read after him?
Yes, Mr.
Okay. Omar.
Start now.
Yes, start.
Adding support and informal writing, as mentioned above, it is
Yes.
not appropriate to personalize because you are not writing for a reader who knows you. The style is impersonal throughout.
This means what?
This means that support informal writing is factual and can be, sorry, Mr.
And
Yes,
can be introduced.
introduced in many ways, including the following.
Yes.
This means that as a result, this may result in consequently.
Yes.
Therefore, because which means that.
So when you use here for if you want support, you are going to support on something that is fact. Okay.
Yes.
But when we support in the informal writing, we support our opinion. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What about generalization? Yes, Muhammad.
Sometimes a minor modification change can make a big difference.
Modification is the meaning of it is a change. Okay, it's
can make a big difference to you to your sentence. Some statements can sound very dull. For example, tourists drop letter.
Yes,
Sentences can be modified by the use of various.
Yes, Muhammad. He said this sentence tourists drop letter. This one is very dull because he didn't use here generalization. You can say most of the tourists or some of tourists or some tourists. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, complete. Sentence can be modified
by use of various generalizations. You can use these on their own or in a combination throughout a sentence. One of the simplest ways to use one of the following
is to use one of the following
generalizations.
Yes.
At the beginning of the sentence. This makes it more acceptable to the English ear. Your sentence will also sound more convincing.
Convincing, yes. As a word for generalizations that we can use, like what?
Almost all, the vast majority of, a large number of, most, many, some, a few, not many, hardly any.
Yes, so we can say, for example, almost all tourists drop, or the vast majority of tourists drop. Yes, we have many examples for generalization. A large number of, okay?
Yes.
Yes. And we have also another example, huh?
In
Another
almost
place,
all
sorry.
cases, in the
Yes.
majority of cases, in a large number of cases, in most cases, in many cases, in some cases, in a few cases, and on the whole.
Yes, look at these examples.
Almost all teenagers enjoy watching television. The vast majority of teenagers enjoy watching television. In many cases,
Okay, teenagers.
watching television.
Yes, yes. In many cases,
In many cases,
pollution
pollution is the result of ignorance.
pollution is the result of ignorance.
Ignorance.
Yes, okay. These phrases can add what?
These phrases can add focus to a dull statement as above, or can replace exact figures, numbers, and percentages. So see below.
Yes.
Look at this example from a summary passage which includes the following sentence. A study shows that 95% of teenagers spend 5 hours a week watching television. A summary must not contain figures or percentages or specific numbers.
So he asked me to avoid using percentages or figures or a specific number. And when you write, when you use a generalization. What about generalization? As we said, you can use one of these words, as we said before, almost all, the vast majority of, a large number of, and so on. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Muhammad, huh?
No,
A generalization, huh?
Therefore, a generalization could be used to express the same information.
Yes.
The vast majority of teenagers enjoy watching television. A frequency word, such as generally, usually, often, or sometimes, can also be used as a generalization to achieve a similar effect.
A similar effect, yes. Teenagers often watch
Television.
television, huh?
Generally, teenagers enjoy watching television. Teenagers generally enjoy watching television.
As we know, these words are called what? Frequency words, yes?
Words, yes.
Frequency words like generally, usually, often, sometimes. They can be used also for what? For generalization, okay? Yes, what about how can we modify the verb? Modifying the
Modifying
verb.
the verb can generalize your sentence and make it more informative.
Informative, yes.
Replace the basic verb with the verb tend.
For example,
In many cases, pollution tends to be the result of ignorance. If the
yes,
subject
I can say if I say pollution is that there is no generalization, yes. If I say pollution is the result of ignorance, yes, there's no generalization. But if I use the verb tends in this way, it will be give a hint for what? For generalization, yes. If the subject is a person,
if the subject is a person, you can use the phrases have to a tendency to.
have a tendency to.
This suggests that
This
whatever
suggests,
that whatever follows in the sentence is this person's habit. For example, women have a tendency to spend more time at home than men. My brother has a tendency to shout. The following examples show how generalizations can be combined. Almost all Italians have a tendency to
No.
nap.
Nap, it means I have a short sleep, okay,
Yes,
in the afternoon.
which
Yes,
is equal to have a short sleep in the afternoon.
yes.
In most cases, teenagers have a tendency to feel self-conscious,
Conscious,
shy, embarrassed.
or embarrassed. Without generalization, the above sentence would look like this.
Teenagers feel self-conscious.
Say what here?
Compare this with the modified sentence and not noted the difference. The sentence with generalization is much more fluent and more likely to make a good impression on the examiner.
Examiner. So the first point that we said when we start our first paragraph, I mean, here's the introduction. We need to state the time fixer, like nowadays, these days. After the time fixer, you are required to use generalization. What I mean by generalization, as we said, you can use the word most of, the majority of, all the people say, for example, or and as we said, many of people say, or some people say this type of generalization. So the first point, time fixer. Second point, generalization. To start what? To start writing the formal topic. For the formal that we have in this year, school magazine article. School magazine article. Thanks so much, Muhammad Mustafa.
You're welcome.
Can I read?
We can complete with another one. Who?
Sir, can
Omar?
I come? Yes.
Yes, Omar. Okay.
Formal language structures. The most important tools needed for formal writing are the formal language structures themselves.
Yes.
In the exam, the question will usually contain a function word. For example, opinion, views, arguments, or suggestion. Suggestions. One of the
Suggestion.
Suggestions.
Yes.
One of the most effective ways to study formal writing is through learning various phrases associated with selected language functions. For example, consider these ways or making suggestions. In order to reduce pollution, the government should increase tax on petrol. This is
Yes.
this is a simple structure in terms of grammar. Surely it would be a good idea if the government increased tax on petrol.
On petrol. Yes.
This
is a
is
more
a
advanced
more advanced
structure.
structure using the second conditional with the past tense. It's high time the government increased tax on petrol. This is an advanced structure using the phrase "it's time" with the
It
past
is
tense.
time with the
It is
past
time
tense.
with the past tense.
Yes. He said it is high time the government increase the tax on petrol. What about these phrases? All the phrases?
All the phrases listed in the unit use formal register.
Yes, these we are going to study in the next sessions. Okay. Some are most what?
Some are more advanced in structure than others, but this doesn't mean that they are better or more formal than those with a similar structure. The key is to use what you feel comfortable with. In the remaining units of this section, we examine in detail the formal language structures we have been referring to under the heading suggestions, opinions, view, and arguments.
This will apply them to arrange a typical exam composition question, section 4. For composition, it has the same form of school magazine article. So we cancel study this part for composition and replace it with school magazine article. Okay, because they have the same criteria, the same steps, the same basic plan. The only difference between them, for school magazine article, we write a title, but for composition, there is no title. This difference. Okay.
Okay.
That's all for this part of today. Do you have any question? So the first, I am going with you step by step. The first point that we are required to start any formal writing to use time fixer and generalization. Time
Mr.
fixer
Can I ask a
again.
question?
Yes, Mania.
Mr. What will be the introduction of this writing?
The introduction will be related to, for example, school magazine article.
So if what to write if it's written like this?
According to the topics, Muhammad. Okay. For example, The tourism, for example, if you ask me about the effect of tourism in your country or on your country,
Yes.
you can write, for example, the pollution effect. For example, you can be asked to write about a school.
Yes. Mr. If he told me to write about the pollution, what is the introduction to write?
You can say, for example, nowadays, most of people, okay, don't care
Yes, I'm
about
with
the
you.
environment. Okay, this is the beginning of your introduction. So I'm going with you step by step, Muhammad. Okay,
Okay.
and today we recognize
Sorry,
together
take this
what
tomorrow.
is different. What, my dear?
We'll take this tomorrow, the introduction body. And...
No, next
Tomorrow
week.
speaking.
And next week, inshallah. Okay.
yes,
Next week,
next
listen to
time.
me. Listen to me. Next week, we are going to know how can we write opinion and suggestion and views and argument sentence. How can we start them? I can show you this file. Okay. Just wait for me, please. This will session. Okay. This is a way of improving formal writing. This suggestion, before suggestion, we have opinion. Okay, just wait. Open to find also for it. So go with me step by step. Okay, to be able to write well. If you understand the base point or mean here, the main points for writing any formal topic, it would be easier for you to write one. Okay, grade 8. You follow me? You follow me? Okay.
Yes.
I opened this file of opinion. Just wait for me, please. This file is 6. Okay. Yes. Okay. We have here, for example, you can see this file or no? Suggestion. Yes, you can see it.
Yes.
Yes. He tells us how can we start our suggestion sentence in the formal writing. For example, this is supposed to be in the next session, not today. Okay. Okay, my dear. So I'll just give you a hint about this topic. It said, for example, here there are several ways of introducing or putting forward a suggestion. I mean by suggestion, your idea. Okay. A formal gesture, including the following structure and phrases. Here each one is followed by an example sentence relevant to an exam topic. Okay. For example, I can see this is a ways, different ways that you can start your suggestion by saying surely, then the subject, then could or should. For example, if we are talking about advertising campaign, so I can say surely an advertising campaign could help promote awareness of anything that we can write here that is related to the topic. Another way, I would suggest introducing laws to deal with the problem of the deforestation, deforestation. Okay. So for suggestion, we can use this expression like surely. I would suggest that. Then subject plus should. I would clearly or surely be a good idea if. Then I say my suggestion. If for example, it would be a good idea if we had better sport facilities or a cinema club at school. Suggestion, it means to give your idea. Is it clear for you? Grade 8.
Yes,
Eight.
miss.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, miss.
Yes, so we are going to talk about this point in details. Also the same for opinion. We have some expression that you can use to express your opinion, like in my opinion, in my view, personally, it seems to seem that as far as I am concerned, I think, I feel, I believe, okay, many people think or many people feel or many people believe that and then I said the topic that I'm going to write about. For example, in my opinion, sport is very important for our health. So I make here, I wrote here what? An opinion sentence. I start with what? With this expression, in my opinion. Then the topic, sport. Then my opinion is very important for our health. Is it clear for you? Is it clear?
Yes, Mr.
I'm going to explain this part in details, but I'm giving you a hint as our session, we have little time, okay? We finish the topic that we are required to study today. But this and it, we have still time, so I can give you a hint about this topic. Also for views and arguments. This for opinion. The for views argument. I can show you.
Tomorrow's period will be all speaking.
Yes, ma'am. We have only 30 minutes, so it will be for speaking. Okay.
Mr. I'll speak from them to.
What, Muhammad?
No, Mr. I was kidding.
Views and arguments, we can start our sentence. If we write with an argument sentence, you can say one of the main arguments or the main arguments. We know these points in details when we study the school magazine article. Okay, but what we have now or what we have today is an introduction to differentiate between the formal writing and the informal writing. And how can we write the sentence? Okay, as we said, the first point, avoid what? Avoid contraction form, yes? You remember?
Mr. The short forms and.
You remember or no?
Yes, Mr. The short forms.
Yes, okay. And avoid what? Slang language, yes?
Slang language.
What else?
Also, Mr. Your writing must be impersonal. And avoid
Yes.
the exclamation marks.
Yes, and what else? Humor?
And the humor way in writing.
Yes, because you are going to write about something that is fact, okay?
Yes.
What else?
And yeah, Mr. if you are talking about something, to don't write my bicycle or I ride bicycle at مثلا morning or like this, just talking about the fact or other things impersonal.
Yes, well done.
Not about you.
Yes, and we said today for the time fixer, we have different ways to express time fixer, like what?
And Mr. If we have 2 points, we say moreover or besides.
If we are talking about the same points and want to
same point, and then we have to write in Mr.
Moreover, yes.
Another thing, but in the same point, we write besides or like this. And Mr. When we are talking about two different generations, it might be more Mr. attractive. We can write like from 10 years ago and nowadays, two generations.
Yes, you use contrast. Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, Muhammad. What Muhammad? Okay. And for the sentence of time fixer again, put this in your mind. For example, nowadays, these days, until now, every day, and so on. For the sentence of generalization, we can start by using what? Most of, or almost all, or the vast majority of, a large number of, most, many, some, a few, not many, hardly any. Okay. We have also this group in almost all cases, in all the majority of cases, in a large number of, most cases, in many cases, in some cases, in a few cases, on the whole. So it's very important to use the time fixer and generalization. I'm talking about here the introduction, but I'm going with you step by step. The first 2 points that we said, time fixer and generalization. Is it clear for all of you, my dear students?
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thanks so
Yes,
much.
Mr.
Muhammad, do we have
Goodbye.
do we have any absence today?
Mr. I think today we are all attending as we are 30 and we are 29 in the school and we are 30 in the meeting.
Yes, you are 29 at school, then yes, okay, it's okay. So I'll give you the host, Muhammad.
Mister, if you have the names, you can see our the names and you know who is it.
I have the names and I know your numbers, but I
Mister,
want to
but
be
my
sure.
question, I have a small question, Mister. They
Yes,
will not
please.
divide us into two classes because we have
Yes,
just four students.
Maybe next week, maybe. Okay,
Okay, Mister.
I give those for Mrs. Ines. Okay, she joined us. Mrs. Ines. Okay, I'll give you those. You're told now, Mrs. Ines.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
You are welcome.
Bye, Mister.
Good morning.